What's up everybody, Kevin Hill here. I've got the opportunity to show you the Thule's T2 Pro from last year as well as the new and upgraded T2 Pro XT, so I thought I'd point out some of the differences. Maybe you've got a T2 Pro right now, you're thinking about upgrading, or you have the option to buy one or the other. So I'll point out some of the main differences between the two here. First of all, the T2 Pro retailed for about $550. The T2 Pro XT has gone up by $30, so we're now at $580. Another key difference is last year it was available only in the silver and black colorway combo. This year you can get it in all black. The main differences I feel in the T2 Pro XT, and the reason that I decided to upgrade from the Pro, has to do with the fact that the bike adjustability is different. The bikes stand a little further apart from each other and are more adjustable. And I'll walk you through kind of each one of these piece by piece so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll show you how this works. So I left this kind of loose so that you can see it moving. Both of the trays can slide back and forth, allowing you to move the bikes apart from each other. And when we're looking at the T2 Pro XT, you can see that the entire bar is about 13 inches wide, and the actual tray for each one to slide in is a little over 4 inches. So we've got about 4 inches of travel left to right. Now by comparison, when we look at last year's T2 Pro XT, you can take a look and see that it's maybe 8.5 inches wide total. Hi, kitty. Count. All right, and so anyway, it's about 2 inches of travel, a little bit less actually. So really what that means is you've got the ability to move your bikes 4 inches further apart, because each one can move 2 inches further in the opposite direction. So that's a pretty huge change. Another big change to this one is they've moved the bikes apart. So if we look from edge to edge here, we've got about 12.5 inches from the bottom up to the inside of the next one. So we've got about 12.5 inch separation between the bikes. If we look at last year's, we've got just about 11 inches of separation. So we've basically moved the bikes about 1.5 inches further away from each other. Now I have run into one negative to that, and that is if you look at it when it's folded up here, the handle is now directly obstructing where you would need to grab this thing when it's folded up. So if I were to go and try and get into the handle, it's kind of tough. My knuckles get pushed in there. So when it is folded up against the vehicle, you're gonna have to fold this arm out a little to get access to it, to then bring it down. It shouldn't really play at all, have a problem at all once you got a bike on it, because then the arm's gonna be up and out of the way. So when you're lowering that bike down, it's not gonna be in your way at all. But when you go to put it back, you're gonna need to have that up at first so you can bring it up and then push it in. So it would have been nice if they had extended this piece by 1.5 inches just to put that handle back into the position like this one was, because here I can still get my hand in even when it's all the way folded up. So far that's the only negative that I've seen on the T2 Pro XT. And then one last difference is when you look at the way this retractable lock attaches, they've apparently put a stronger retract mechanism on it. I can't quite tell if that's true yet, but one definite difference is when we look at the shape, this kind of keyhole shape to hold the piece in there and to hold it straight. That does seem to be an upgrade. This pops in, it's got a little bit of like a retainer, you can look up in here, it's got a little bit of a retainer clip to it. So once it's in place, it kind of locks in there. You can feel it pop in and then pop back out. The old one did not have that at all. So if we take a look at the old one, it's just got this little cup, and this basically just sat down there, and you could spin it any which way while it was on there, and it didn't really stay, so they usually just end up kind of hanging like that and not looking quite as clean as it otherwise could. So I think that's it for the major differences between them. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple bikes on, and we'll see if I can resolve the issues that I was having with handlebar seat contact on the old T2 with the new one. Alright, as you can see, I've got my bike loaded up onto the first tray, And I'm going to go ahead and throw my wife's bike on the second tray, and we'll see if we get enough adjustability to keep them from bumping into each other. And right now I've got this outer tray all the way to the left and the back tray all the way to the right, and as you can see, we've got pretty good separation on the handlebar and this seat, and back here we've also got pretty good separation. So I think that 1.5 inch width between them, the increase helps quite a bit, and definitely being able to move the two. I did experiment with it a little and move this lower tray all the way forward. Kind of puts these guys into contact a little bit, but remember this tray is also all the way to the left, so we can actually move that kind of past this one and all the way to the right, and that's actually not too bad either. Got some separation there. This is a little close. Also remember, these are loose right now, so it's going to be a little more firm than it is, but basically it looks like I can keep these bikes separate by either sliding both trays all the way together or all the way apart, which is nice. And then for comparison, I'll show you how they fit on the old one. Alright, so we're back with my bike up here. We've got the T2 Pro as opposed to the T2 Pro XT, so I'm going to show you the issues that I was having with these two bikes coming in contact with each other. So whenever my wife's bike is up here, you will see we've got major contact between the handlebars and the seat. Right now I've got the two trays as spread apart as they can be, so I can't move this bike forward anymore, and the same with that one. Can't move this one to the left and this one to the right any further. And if I bring them back, we end up with this handlebar kind of rubbing underneath here on the rails. So this is basically no good. I'm gonna drop the dropper post, and you'll see that that does help a little bit, but it's pretty close. Alright, so I've dropped the dropper down. You can see now that we've got a little bit of clearance between the two. It does work. This is the way that I generally traveled with it, putting that seat all the way down, but you're still pretty close. When things are kind of bouncing around, you can end up with this brake lever or this handlebar rubbing up against the seat. So I think that the T2 Pro XT is definitely a nice upgrade. Getting the bikes 1.5 inches further apart and having the ability to move them 4 inches laterally further apart from each other is I think a good move on Thule's part. I do like that they're offering the black finish. I think that the retractor and the ability for it to pop into place is also nice. I looked quite a bit when I was purchasing these at whether or not I wanted to go with the new Yakima Dr. Tray or possibly the Kuat NV 2.0. The Dr. Tray has a ton of separation between the two. It's fairly lightweight. I want to see how it holds up over time for people. The Kuat NV 2.0, while I like the finish better, I think it's a really clean looking, nice finish. It does not have the external handle like the T2 Pro does, and I really like that feature. And it's also a little bit more of a pain to get in and out of the receiver because you've got a locking hitch pin, where with the Thule, I'll show you here real quick, we've just got a little wheel that we use to lock it, and this tightens it down, locks it into the receiver, and then once you turn the key, this wheel just spins free, and you don't have to worry about anybody being able to steal it. They can't loosen it up to get the rack out of the receiver. So that's my 2 cents. I hope it helps you guys make your decision on what kind of tray rack you want to go with. I personally think that they're the easiest way to haul your bikes around. If you like to take yours on and off a lot, I highly recommend you look at the T2 Pro XT. Thanks.